And my premise for all of this is like, if you want it, you will find a way. It is that simple. You will not make excuses. You will not be in the victim mentality. You're just going to go.
Welcome to the Rebel Energy Podcast with me, your host, Jade Ellsbury. I'm a corporate dropout and multiple six-figure online business owner. My mission is to help you get out of the 9 to 5 mindset and create a new narrative for moms working from home to gain more freedom, more income, and living your dream life by cultivating your own rebel energy. So grab a glass of wine, get comfy, and let's dig in. Hi, Rebels. Today I am here with Chantel, also known as Channy. I'm so excited to have you guys talk with her. Love her dearly. She's not only also obviously a business coach in the online space, fitness specifically, but she's my fitness coach right now. I'm working with her. So I'm excited to have her share all the things with you. Channy, super excited to have you here. Do you want to talk a little bit, just give everyone a brief overview about what you do and how you got here?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I just want to say I'm so excited to be on this. Jade, I love you. I respect you. I look up to you, and you are just a badass mom,
Thank you.
entrepreneur, businesswoman, and that's my vibe. Like I want to like we all hang out. What does it say? What do they say? Birds of a feather flock together.
Yes, yep.
Yeah. So I'm just super excited to be on here and just share a little bit about myself. I'm going to be really honest. I get shocked still to this day that people care. Because, I'm just a regular person, and I just love what I do. And so I think that the energy just, I guess, naturally just comes out. But yeah, so my name is Chantel. Everybody calls me Shanny. I own a online fitness and nutrition business called Shanny Fit. And my premise to starting my business, and just I guess my mission statement, is to help just the regular woman who feels lost, who feels like she has lost herself, that she has lost her way, and she feels like she's surviving, that she's not thriving in life. And so, yes, I come in and I make, workout plans and nutrition, but it's so much bigger than that. It's all about how your life functions as a whole, your mindset, and feeling like you are crushing it every day. And life gives you hurdles, life gives you lots of ups and downs. And so my goal is to come in and say, hey, like, you can thrive in life as you have all these things going on, and to just create your life by design, essentially, and to ultimately find joy and happiness in the everyday. So that's how I base my business around that mindset. And I really like to come in and just challenge my clients and the women around me to like shoot for more, shoot for big, and like believe in themselves, because that's the biggest thing is, life throws us craziness. And I'm sure we're going to go into this topic, but life throws us craziness, and women as general, I think, are superstars. And I'm not trying to like obviously be like a super feminist or anything. I am a feminist in that aspect, but we have a lot on our plate, and we handle a lot of responsibility, even when it's not something we put on ourselves. It's just given to us, and so we lose
Yeah.
ourselves in the process. So yeah, I'm super excited to be on this podcast because I think you too are in the same boat, and you are steering the same ship of that vision for your clients, and creating a business of really strong women that are entrepreneurs and having something that's theirs and something they can provide their family with, and so I don't know. I'm
Right.
just really grateful. This is
No,
awesome.
I love that you said that because even this morning, um, we talked with one of my clients. I did a client case study, Lamari. Love her. She's been with us for 6 months. She's now making half her sorry guys, I'm like going on my little thing here, but half her corporate income. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to like leave my 9 to 5 at least. She's like, probably before the end of November. And she had said as well, she's like, I feel like I found myself. And another client, Taylor, was on the live and she's like, "I feel this so much." She's like, "Because I feel like I've now found my purpose." And Taylor's a mom of 6. And
Wow.
Lamari has one baby, but, she saw how hard it was leaving her first, and so now she's like, "Yeah, I want more kids," and I'm so grateful that now I don't have to worry about, taking, them to daycare and paying $1,000 a month for it, which is mind-blowing for one
Yes.
kid, and, yeah, I feel like even though there's 2 different aspects, right, like health and fitness and virtual assistant coach, it's a very similar mission of just showing women they can want more and really making them feel like they can do all the things.
That they're powerful enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and by
and
all
I
the
think
things, I mean, don't do all the things, but
well,
be a
yeah, I
mom,
mean,
be a business owner, take care of yourself, yeah.
yeah, and, wife, girlfriend, whatever it looks like, I mean, it's
Yeah,
just it is, and for me, so for a lot of people that know or don't know, I'm also a single mom, and, so that's a whole 'nother world in and of itself,
yeah,
and I think that when I started going through my separation divorce, I got hit really hard with, like, the realization of, "Oh, this is who I am." Like, it became my identity. I had to realize the reality of what was happening in my life, which was really hard and traumatizing, to be really honest, in the very beginning until I got my stride and I put my big girl pants on and I said, "I have to accept this. This is my reality now. I can't cry about it. I can't feel sorry about it. Or, I mean, sorry for myself about it anymore. What am I going to do? Now that this is my reality, what can I do?" And that was what made me rise up to who I am now. And it's a never ending process. I do not feel like I've arrived by any means. I feel like the rest of my life, I'll be in a growth process, you
yeah,
know? But yes, finding your power, and it comes with little things over time. And if I look back, it's always like, okay, I have this hurdle, and then you overcome that hurdle, and then it builds that confidence. And then you do another thing and another thing. And you realize that now you're in a journey of finding yourself, not just handling life, but handling yourself.
yeah,
It's crazy. And no one can keep you accountable but yourself,
mhm,
and that's where the power lies, And I I like to structure my coaching accordingly. I've had coaches in the past, and everybody needs a different thing, but I always like to say when I'm on, a potential call with someone before I even sign them up, I like to make sure that they know, "I'm not gonna be a helicopter mom to you,"
yeah,
because there needs to be a part of it that you have to push yourself. You have to show up for yourself. And I'm going to remind you and I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to push, help get the momentum. But I want them to realize like this is a journey for yourself and you have to find yourself in it.
mhm,
And the hard times when you don't want to wake up and work out, or you don't want to, or maybe your day is structured where you have to work out late in the day. Do you say to yourself, well, it's late, like, I'll just do it tomorrow? Or do you show up right now for yourself? Because it's the characteristics that you're building. It's the fundamental characteristics you're building. And it's crazy, Jade, because I see it. What's so beautiful and amazing, and I feel so privileged to do this for a living, is I start them with this, and then it goes into all these other avenues in their life,
mhm,
their career, the way they mother, the way they wife, their finances, and I'm not even coaching that part of them.
yeah,
And they're telling me all these success stories like what you gave me, now I'm functioning at a higher level on all these other things in my life. It's changing who I am, the way I think, the way I show up for myself, for my family, for my close friends. It's so amazing to witness. And that's all it takes, I think, is women, we put ourselves last all the time,
mhm,
and I feel like a broken record because I talk about this so much, but I feel like people hear it, but they don't live it, and they're like, "I know, I need to prioritize. I know, I'll do it later. I know." But they don't understand what it unlocks in them.
yeah,
It's it's almost like a it's almost like you take the red pill and the blue pill kinda thing, like, something unlocks that they're it just and it becomes this unstoppable force in their life.
I think it's like they start to, like, believe they're like, "Oh, I can do this." Like, I can find time or make time for a 30-minute workout, you know? Or, okay, now I'm lifting more, and I see the same thing even with my virtual assistants, again, with Lamari, like, we talked about today. She didn't have the most mind-blowing journey if you're just looking at, um like, she didn't leave her 9 to 5 in the 6 months, but she's now leaving the program, and she will be able to do it, you know? It's not like she had, like, a 10K month and, you know, a month of working with me, and so I think sometimes too, they enter a journey, probably like a fitness journey too. I'm sure you've seen it where it's like, I have a goal of wanting to lose 50 pounds. Maybe they don't lose their full 50 pounds while they're working with you, but they know how to do it and they have the confidence to do it. And
Mhm,
that doesn't minimize maybe the 20 pounds that they lost because they had to go through that journey. They maybe had to better understand, the first month of working with you, like, I'm an emotional eater, or, maybe they
mhm,
struggled to that first month to, like, get their workouts in every day, you know? But it
mhm.
doesn't minimize the journey because they don't have the biggest fucking results in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I've had a couple clients that I can think of. One still with me. She's with me for a year. And then I have another one who has renewed and renewed and renewed. I have several of those. But it's cool because what happens is they come to me and they're doing the program and then they're struggling with something, exactly what you said, where I have to talk them off a cliff, you know? And I have to show them, hey, 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 like this part of you that wants to give up, this is exactly why you're doing this with me because this is what we're trying to kill. We're trying to kill that characteristic in you that just when it gets hard, you just give up. Like, oh, it's not working. It's not that it's not working. It's that either we need to pivot this way or you need to keep going and you need to keep going to see the end result.
Yeah.
How many times does that reflect in our businesses, Jade? Like as entrepreneurs, we will have really high months where everything is pinging, everything is flowing, everything's attracting, and then you'll have a month where you're like, wait, 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 I'm doing the same stuff. What's happening? And
Yep.
there's just and it takes a gritty person. It takes someone that has a lot of fortitude to keep going and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing the daily. I'm just going to keep doing the action no matter if the results don't show right now. I just know that if I keep going, it will show up again." It's the trust and the consistency. So, it and that's I think why a lot of people are constantly searching for anything. It's anything. Like if you think about it, they're constantly trying something new and then hoping, that's what the result's gonna be, but I want it in this time frame. And
Always. Yep.
always. And then if they don't have it in that time frame, they give up. And they're like, "Oh, well," then they go and tell everybody else, "Oh, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work." When really it's not that, it's that you didn't consistently stay to
Yep.
see it, you know?
Yep. Nope, that's so true. And, I look at my clients as well too, where, and again, like Lamari's story today, she got 2 clients and, 12 weeks of working with us. But and if we compare her journey to somebody else's, she's a mom and she's working 9 to 5. So someone that maybe has, all day, like they just have all day, they don't have any kids, they don't have a 9 to 5, they just can focus on their business. It'd be easy to be like, well, so and so got better results. Like, I'm not meant to be a virtual assistant. No, your journey just looks a little bit different, and that's okay. And she invested again for another 3 months, and now look where she's at. But for
Right.
her, it wasn't the 2 clients that she got. She wasn't like, oh, well, I am not able to leave my 9 to 5 within 12 weeks. It's okay, but I see the changes in me. She even said too, she's like, I started to go talk to a therapist. Like, that's huge. She's like, my mental health is so much better because going through that journey, she had mentioned that she was learning a lot about herself, and that's why she started to go to a therapist. So she's just feeling better all around and more confident in every, like what you said, every single aspect of her life, not just the business. And I'm sure you see it too, not just in maybe weight loss or feeling more in shape.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, when I started working out, it was just and my journey is different than everybody else, but for me, it was like the life jacket that was being handed to me. That was the only thing I can think of was, I need to go somewhere to better myself. And so I went and got a cheap gym membership. I didn't know what I was doing, and I did feel like crap going into a gym with fit people, being overweight. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know if my form was right. I would look at people and, like, copy them and, like, "Okay, let me see, like, how this person does it."
Mhm.
And so when I have my clients come to me and they say, you know, I'm in all of the hurdles, like I'm really insecure to walk into the gym looking like this. And I'm looking at all the people around me who are so fit. And I'm able to then speak from experience and say, hey, you go anyway. Because what ended up keeping me there was I need this outlet. I need something for myself,
Mhm.
and I knew that it was more than physical, it was all mental, and I had to use it as a tool. It was my therapy, and I had therapy also on the side at the time.
Was this during your
And
divorce?
yeah, my early yeah, the early years of divorce,
Yep.
and, um, I've been I've been divorced for well, I've been officially divorced for, 3 years, I think, and then separated for 6 years. So it's been 6 years of this journey of self discovery because I was married for almost 9 years, stayed at home with my babies. I raised, that was what I did.
Mhm.
And I kind of would work out, like I would do like a class, like a spin class, or I do this or that. But ultimately I was just, just whatever, but I wasn't consistent. I didn't have a desire to really take care of myself.
Mhm.
All I cared about was just my home life and my kids. But then it's so wild. I let I didn't realize how much I'd let myself go
Mhm.
with time. And then it was also problems in our marriage that I was just like covering up how bad it really was,
Mhm.
because he was going through some personal stuff and it was really hard to navigate. And he was, going through like depression and like identity issues. And then I was like mimicking that just because I felt like I had to hold it all together.
Mhm.
So, you know, as this is happening, so I know all the stages that a lot of my clients coming in are starting at. Like, pouring everything into your family, where that is amazing, but I think I what I show my clients is you can have both. You can pour all into your family. Actually, you can even pour more so into your family when you take care of yourself, you're not depleted, you're a happy person, you're
Mhm.
not running on fumes. Because I noticed that, yeah, I all my whole life is my kids and their activities and this and this and this, but all the while I'm miserable. I'm depressed, I'm suicidal, I'm overweight. I have a really bad relationship with food. I'm really unhappy with my marriage,
Yep.
but then, like, for my kids, I'm like, like, and I'm going to the birthday parties and I'm going to the mom hangouts, and I'm really internally I'm dying. Like, I was dying a slow death. And so when we got separated, I look back now and I don't regret a thing. I do feel that that was God saving me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Seeing, hey, like, she's not going to live her purpose out this way. And And it was like it was the rug that got ripped out from under me that just needed to happen, because I stayed, pretty wrecked for a while. Um, and I remember there was actually a very profound moment, and my mom has been my best friend, and I'm really close with her, and just has always been such a wise person in my life. But she there was a point where she came to me and she said, like, legit, she goes, "You're done." And I was like, "What?" And she said, "Sweetheart, you're done. You're done laying in bed all day. You're done crying about it. Like, you've got 2 kids." Because my daughter was 6, 5 or 6, and my son was 3. She's like, "You have 2 little ones that need you at your best. So you
Mm.
need to get up and you need to get to work, basically, like, get your life together." And she it was exactly what I needed. Like, she gave me a wake up call. She's like, "You're all they got now. You're all they got." And I'm like, "Okay." And it was exactly what I needed. And it was rough. It was rough, but I've been through all the stages. So when people come to me and they hear my story, they come to me and they think like I'm just this chick that like I've always been fit and I've never struggled, like, "Cool, like, let me lift some weights," but I was, like, skinny before. People don't get it, like, they
Yeah,
don't know, you know?
there's that saying
Uh
that's like, "Don't judge me on my day or, my year 30 or whatever." And I don't I'm totally butchering that, but I love that because I feel that way as well too. Like, they're like, "Oh, well, it's easy for Jay to say because, like, she makes X, Y, and Z, and she's already established," and I'm like, no, like, I had a day one." And I see a lot of coaches in the online space where they try to, I don't know, like, put on this facade, or they don't want to be vulnerable and be like, "No, I once was a hot fucking mess too." And
Mhm,
that's why I'm always like, "Oh my gosh, no." Like, I've had my debit card declined for
mm,
groceries and being like, "Oh no, a bill came out," and being, like,
mm,
super embarrassed, and then being like, "I don't have a way to pay for the fucking groceries that are right already rang up." Like,
yeah, yeah,
been where you are. So I love that it sounds like you're the same as well too, just being, like, transparent of, but also too, I think we look at it a little bit differently of, like, I'm kinda like your mom, I'm not gonna let you stay in that victim mentality. Like,
yes,
that's how I am, like, "No, if I can fucking do it, you can do it." Like,
yes,
I
yes,
can be compassionate for you, but I'm not going to just let you sit in that.
yes, and there's a difference, and that's one thing is there's compassion and empathy, but that
Mhm,
should make you rise up. Because for me, the moments of yeah, I had an EBT card and food stamps, and I remember so I'm a musician, I've played, guitar and bass, like, my whole life, and I had bought this brand new bass guitar, and I remember I had to it was like a $4,000 bass.
mhm,
Super nice, and when I was, because right in the beginning, like, I had to go find a job, right? Because I was a stay-at-home mom, so there was, like, a few months in there, he took off, so he wasn't supporting, and I had to move back in with my parents, with my kids. He took off, he was gallivanting, and so I was like, "I have to buy food, I have to pay some bills," like,
mhm,
and I remember I had to sell my bass guitar just, like, independently. I couldn't sell it back to, like, the music store,
mhm,
so I had to sell it just to, like, independent, and I remember I was, like, crying. I got in the car and I was crying, and it had nothing to do with the bass, and I remember I didn't get much for it. They were trying to, like, even haggle me. I'm like, "I literally just bought this brand new. It's beautiful. This is, like, top of the line," and they're trying to haggle me. And so I just got what I could get so I could have some cash to pay, I think, my phone bills, some groceries,
yeah,
and I got in my car and I was crying and it wasn't because I sold the base, like, whatever, it's a thing. I care more about my kids and food, but it was a moment of going, "This feeling, I never wanna feel this feeling again."
oh, I
Like
had a moment like that too. Hawking my
yeah,
wedding ring,
yeah,
about the same amount, and he was
yeah.
800 bucks, and that same day, my coach, who I'm actually still working with now, which I was super embarrassed because it was my VA coach's coach, and then I had worked with her that previous September, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Before, right when we were, like, split up, and my ex and I had to ask her for a refund that same day. But with my ring and that, it was, like, almost $1,700 that I had, and I was like, "Okay, what the fuck am I gonna do?" And obviously, right, like, I'm still, like, working with her. She totally made her money back, but that was,
Yeah,
like, my pivotal moment as well too of, like, "Oh my gosh, like, I have to, like," right, like, support my kids and, like, build my business back up because during I had a really successful, like, six-figure year, and before that, and then, like, right, like, that victim just wasn't showing up, wasn't doing
yeah.
what I needed to do, and I was like, "Okay," like, I had that, and I kept calling myself, like, a one-hit wonder, like, I felt like I was like a what, like, I had one good year, and I'm like, "No,
Mhm.
I need to
Yeah,
1 fucking do it again," and I think for me,
yeah,
asking someone that I respected for a refund, which thank you, Mel, for giving me that money back. But for me, that was like, I'm a very proud person. I'm sure as you
Oh,
are,
yeah, same.
like,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
rock bottom.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And what did that make you but that made did that reverse it though to where now then you're like, "Okay, I'm not gonna come back to this place ever again." Like
No,
that you
I
have put
that's
like
the only time that I've not
yeah,
that I've ever asked for
right.
a refund, that I've ever which it had just come out that day, so it wasn't like, like, I had paid for, like, what was given to me, but I was on a monthly payment plan with her, and I was like, "I just
Yeah.
going through divorce, I can't," and I just looking back to, I'm, like, so grateful that, she did that, and I think too, it speaks on character because, like, obviously, again, right, here we are, gosh, over 3 years later, and I've bought so much, and, like, I'm doing one of my coaching with her now, like, she's made a
Yes.
shit off me, but I wouldn't have been able to be here, but yeah, it
Mm.
was definitely at that moment of just like, "Yeah, this fucking sucks." Tired of making 3K in your virtual assistant business? In Rebel Energy Coaching, we have multiple tiers to help you grow and expand your income within your online service based business. I've been able to build $1 million brand, but it stemmed from creating a solid foundation as a virtual assistant. And that's what we help you do in Rebel Energy Academy. We don't just help you get started, we help you discover your purpose online. DM me GROW if you are ready to scale to 5K and beyond.
Yeah, yeah. It's so weird how like things like that happen in your life. It was just pivotal for me. Like something clicked in
Mhm.
me
And you'll never
where I was
forget.
yeah, and then I told myself, I'm like, well, A, I know that I'm not lazy. Like I'm a workhorse,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. And from then on, I did. I mean, before I even went online, like I figured it out. Like I started working multiple jobs. Then I figured out, wow, I'm really I really love fitness. And it's funny, fitness found me. I was just training in the gym and I was having sorry, I thought there was a bee in my office, but it's just a huge fly. Is I had people coming to me asking me advice, like other people that were trainers. And they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" Or people asking if I compete and watching me on the gym floor. Then I had people asking me, "Can you train me?" I'm like, "I'm not even certified. I don't even do this for a living." They're like, "Just train me." So then I was kind of doing that a little bit just for fun and for free. And
Oh, God.
yeah, and just like, "Oh, come work out with me," kinda thing, And I had a girlfriend say, "Hey, hey, hey, listen, you need to do this for a living. Like, you're actually not just somebody who's like, 'Yeah, let me go be a personal trainer.' You go get certified," which honestly, getting certified is, like, so easy, and it doesn't take any brain power to me, to be honest. Everything you learn is from reading and doing and, like, physical doing. And she's like, "You know so much more than just a regular personal trainer because you love it, like, for yourself." And I'm like, "I do love it." She's like, "You need to do this for a living." It took off, like, my in-person training took off. I was never without a client. It was like I had a waiting list. It's like I was booked up, and then if one client was, like, finished her term or didn't wanna continue, then I'd, like, call that person, the person's in. And it was like I was working 12 hours, and I was doing it as being a single mom. So I would work my schedule around like, oh, I gotta go pick up the kids and then I gotta be back at the gym. And oh, I got a sport. Okay, and then I gotta go back to the gym. Like my days were like 4 a.m. all the way down to like 8 p.m. at night, because I gotta go home. Yeah, it was crazy. My days were crazy. When I didn't have the kids, I'd load those days with work. So I was just a hustler. I was like, I don't care. I just knew that feeling that I felt when I sold the bass guitar.
Yeah,
I was like, I want money. I want money to like make it and be okay and stay afloat and provide. And at the time, I remember it wasn't about having a nice car. It wasn't about six figures. It was about I'm bettering myself and I'm bettering my kid's life and I'm providing. And there was so much power in that. And
yeah.
I moved to a bigger house in April, and, before that, I was in an apartment with my kids, and there's something I don't know if anybody can relate, but it was my first place with the kids, and we stayed in there for 4 years, and it was a small two-bedroom apartment, but I loved that place. There's so much growth.
Yep.
It was mine. It was my first place with them, and I made it a cute I made it cute, it was very home like, it felt like a home, and,
Yep.
like, I bawled my eyes out when I moved out of that apartment.
Mhm.
And it was like, of course, I'm coming into, like, a two-story bigger house. They've got their own rooms, they've got a huge yard. Of course, yeah, like, I'm leveling up in life, that's a blessing, that's such a huge, like, wow, win, but it was, like, a part of me that was like, "Wow, like, there's so much that this, like, place means to me." Like, I built my online business in this apartment. I used to do like, now I have an office, and I used to do these Zoom calls, like, I used to do Zoom calls in my small, tiny, like, dining room table, and I put these plaques on the back wall too, like, I, like we didn't even have a dining table, we would eat on the coffee table, so I had my little setup on my small little dining room in
Oh,
my
I love
apartment,
it. No
and
one
just you
knows
just
the difference. I didn't know the difference.
no, and you just but you know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
my point and my premise for all of this is, like, if you want it, you will find a way. It is that simple. You will not make excuses, you will not be in the victim mentality, you're just gonna go. "Hey, cool, like, I got this space right here, yeah, I'm gonna make this space my office." And you're not and it's also this attitude of you're not like, "Ugh, gosh, this is what I got right now."
It's
You're
been
not ungrateful. You're
yeah.
not ang you're grateful for every little thing you have, you know?
I relate to that
Yeah.
so much. We just moved out of, our rental. We had a house, but I remember, you know, and I loved it. I mean, it was, right, a rental. Like, they
Yeah.
painted the bathtub, they painted the countertop because they didn't wanna put anything new in there, God forbid. But I yeah, this was just, oh my gosh, what is it? October? Yeah, like a month ago. And I tried, and the exact same thing. I'm like, that was the first place that to me actually felt like at home, like a happy home, with my kids as a single mom and being able to pay that $1,500 a month rent on my own was badass. Like, a lot of women out there, at the age of 30, 31, 32, maybe can't say that. And so, even though there was a lot of flaws with that house, like, we were all really sad to leave it, but also too, like what you said too, being grateful every single day of like, yeah, now I've got my own land. Like, we built our own house, and I was
Yes.
able to do that, by myself. And I never want, and I'm sure you feel the same way, but I never want to be dependent on another man ever again. Because looking back, I know that's why I stayed. And also too, right? I wanted to work it out for my kids, but that's why I
Yes.
stayed in an unhealthy, unsafe relationship for as long as I did. Because
Yes.
I didn't have a way out.
Yes. Yeah. And so, wow, it's so similar. There's a
I
lot of
know.
amazing. When you look back at that person that you were when you were in the relationship, you were married, right? You guys were
Mhm.
married? Yeah.
Yep.
When you
We were
were
together
married.
for 10 years, all my
Okay.
20. Yep.
Yeah. Same. See? Same.
Yep.
Oh my god.
So
Yeah.
weird.
It's so weird. That person, that Jade, compared to this person now, like, do you even recognize her? Is it
Um,
crazy to even think back about who you were and how you function and
I'm
how you
tearing up now.
yeah, even, like, your thought process.
Yeah. Like, I think the biggest thing for me too is just the boundaries. Like, boundaries of like, no, you aren't gonna treat me this way. But not only that, but I remember getting like my V and sorry, like I'm totally turning around on me now, but
So it's
like
good,
getting
no,
my
I get
VA.
that.
I know. I'm like, now you're asking me questions. But
Good.
no, getting my like first VA clients, I was deathly afraid the whole time. Are they upset with me if I didn't respond right away?
Mm,
Um, just all those about like pay me when you want, pay me what you want.
mm,
So I would say like the biggest thing is like the confidence piece of no, like this is my business. These are my boundaries. These are my rules.
yes,
Um, and the confidence as well too of knowing, I think just even what a healthy relationship looks like in all aspects of my life, whether it's client, right? Client to coach, relationships, all that. So,
It's so deep. It's so much deeper than I think when you've been through, like, what you and I have been through, I think it's incredible to to for me, like, okay, yeah, I've been through it, you've been through it. It's not the same exact things, but very similar. So then when I hear your story, to me, I'm just like, how do, what's the word? It's so commendable to me
mhm.
because I know what that took. It's not as easy to be like, oh yeah, like I left, okay, we got divorced. Oh, and then I built a business, six figure, but
Yeah, I
it's
would.
still it's not that beautiful, like, "Oh, cool, that's a cool story." No, but, like, I can understand what that looks like, the grit and the like, see, I'm getting emotional. The grit and the grind it takes every freaking day to
Mhm.
get up.
Yeah.
Like,
And
can we keep it real to get up? There's moments in that time where you're just like, "I don't wanna get up right now." Like,
mhm,
I don't wanna live anymore. Like,
yeah,
this is too hard. I didn't ask for this. I didn't see my life being like this. How do I keep going? And it's pushing through that. And I think that's why we have the work ethic that we have and we have the grit that we have. I think it's because we remember that time.
yeah.
It's always we can't forget it.
Mhm.
And it's like, "No, I built this to this, like, how am I gonna just, like, let that fall to the wayside? Like, I'm gonna keep going. Even if I have ebbs and flows of ups and downs, it's doesn't matter." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And the so many similarities. I'd say the difference, I think, too, is because I like I told you, right, going back to fitness, like I've always been in shape and like I always knew I had an unhealthy relationship with food, like, eating less than 1,200 calories. And that was when I was like nursing my first baby, which looking back, right, 23-year-old Jade, I'm like, what the fuck were you doing? But um or like not eating enough and binging at holidays and then always starting over the new year, but like always like, having like my max weight and whatever. And through my divorce for me, because I always felt, okay, if I'm skinnier enough, maybe he'll love me more, maybe he'll treat me right. I always need to be skinnier.
Yeah.
And now, like, being in a healthy relationship, it's, like, the opposite where I'm like, "I know he loves me no matter what," but, like,
Yes.
at
Yes.
10 PM when I'm going for the bag of Oreos, right? But and so I think for me, it's, like, really hard to, like, get back to, no, like, I need to do it, like, for fitness, right? Like, for myself, because for me, like, I think for you, it was, like, working out, like what you said was, like, your therapy or escape. For me, it was my business because I knew in my business, even when I
Mhm,
was with him, I didn't have that confidence, but in my business, I was starting to get that confidence and get that independence.
mhm.
So yeah, it's just like so crazy, like kind of like what your yeah, like your life jacket is when you're going through something like that. And also too, right, guys, I don't have it all together. Like, working out for me is easy. For me, it's the underlying emotional
Yes.
food part of
Yes.
what that looks like and working through that. So guys, if you're listening, I don't have all my shit together, FYI.
I
So
don't either. As far like, none of us have it all
yeah.
together, you know? But, wow, that's so incredible. So you would have I would have to say from what you shared, your business was what built you to get out of your situation, would you
Mhm.
say?
Oh yeah, it was like my escape for sure.
That was like your yeah.
My escape because I also knew like deep down it was inevitable. And so
Mm,
I remember giving it 1 year. And when I gave it 1 year, that's when I actually, like, finally went and invested because I tried on my own for 18 months, and so I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna give it what my marriage 1 year."
yes, yeah.
And so I think for me and it wasn't always 2 at that time, like, I knew at some point it was gonna happen, I think I was just waiting for something, and,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and when I got to that six-figure mark in my business, I was like, "Okay." Like, I feel good enough now that, like, I can support my kids. But then actually going through it, like what you said, right? I'm like, "Oh, it wasn't," even though I was, like, mentally preparing and I knew it was gonna happen, it was still really sad, especially for my kids.
Sure.
And so I think, like, having to go and build it back up from that, again, having that confidence and, like, being able to, like, remember, okay, like, you did it once, like, yeah, right, you kinda sat in your self-pity for a few months, but you can totally get back to where you were.
Oh, yeah, and momentum, I think people don't realize momentum is built.
Mhm.
You can build it, and it also takes work to keep it, and
Yeah.
I'm still learning that because, like, I'll get on this, like, crazy momentum, and in the early days, I used to think, "Oh, that was just, like, some kinda, like, ooh, just like a like, lucky month or something." I didn't realize I built the momentum, and then I lost the momentum. Like, I didn't realize, like, the concept of momentum of, like, you can build it, you gotta work to keep it, and you can definitely lose it, and then you can build it again. But when you see those
100%.
people that are just on this trajectory of just, like, momentum, and it's just, like, growth, 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 well, that's because they're very consistent and they built it. And, I love that you talk about that, how you lost it and then you built it again, because they always say the tools and the print, like what am I trying to say? The strategies, everything, the systems that you learn to build it to be six figures. If you lose it, it's no big deal because you already learned how to build it one
You can
time.
just, yeah, do it again.
But yeah.
Yep.
So
And I think that's a great thing too, guys. Consistency, whether it's working out or, right, being a business owner.
it's just being
Um,
consistent. Yeah.
yeah. And there's this great quote that's like, motivation is fleeting, consistency is character. And when people are like, "Well, how have you been able to do this?" And I'm like, "I'm consistent as fuck." I may not be consistent right now, Shani, with my eating and working out, but I'll tell you when it comes, but also too, right? Like my business, like I'm always fucking consistent. And
Yeah.
so like I think too, again, which I know I mean, I definitely think this was needed as well. We could probably do a whole other podcast on this, but I think, right, like once you get that success, right, it's also learning to take care of yourself because during that
Mhm.
time, it was also during fucking COVID, right? COVID, divorce, 2020 sucked. COVID, divorce. My business took off, which is a great thing, but
Yes.
like that's when also I gained a lot of weight because I'm behind my desk all the time and I
Oh,
put
yeah.
myself on the back burner. So
Yeah.
even once you get success, I think as well, just learning like, okay, do you have the freedom to, clock out for 30 minutes and go for a fucking walk and eat something healthy, you know? Um, and how that all fits into your life.
Yeah. Well, and it's just shifting priorities, and you and I have talked about this not on here, but, like, personally,
Yeah,
shifting priorities and how, it's gonna look different now because now you can delegate.
yeah,
Now things shift, you don't have to take all the workload,
yep,
and that is so hard for me to do. I'm still figuring it out. You already know we've talked about this. There's
yeah,
things in my business, you guys, that I could have done a year ago, and I still haven't, and because I'm a perfectionist and there's certain things I want, and I'm learning that right now too, how to delegate, finding the right person to delegate to. But it's really having core things that you want to accomplish every day, your daily dues. It's
mhm,
very simple, making sure your health is in there. That's a priority. And then obviously whatever you guys do for a living, but your business. And you can do it all. It just shifts a little bit on what that looks like.
yeah,
It's I call them non-negotiables. That's what I call them.
yep,
So, certain days it's non-negotiable that I hit the gym. It is non-negotiable. Like, I can't go off of feeling or motivation or my schedule. Like, that's a non-negotiable. So everything else goes around that. So these are like the type of things that, if you think about it, if a non-negotiable should be something that if you don't do it, are you still going to be functioning at your highest capacity?
mhm,
You have to know the actions that you take, those actions that you take that make you and help you function at your highest capacity, those are the ones that you need to always have as non-negotiables. So for me, it's working out, making sure I'm eating good. I have to have a meditation time in the morning. Like I have to have some time where I'm like reading something or just quiet, you know, getting my head right, my headspace. That's like so vital for me.
Yeah.
And boundaries are a huge thing too, you know. Obviously, I have my business non-negotiables, my things that I do every single day. So we're consistent, just like you.
Yep.
Filling your calendar, booking calls, doing like your podcast, you know.
Yeah.
But I notice like if I don't do those things, it may not show up right away. It may not show up that day,
Mhm.
but with time it shows up.
Yep.
And then I'm like, why am I not functioning the way I was like last month when I was just like rocking and rolling? Why is that? And then I look back, it's like, oh, I've been compromising, you know? And it's actually funny because when you structure your life like that, you find that you have way more time than you did before. When you don't plan, your life is more chaotic,
Yep.
in my opinion. And then you're
Yeah.
like, I never came for this. Yeah. And I like you and I both have calendars. Like we have our our time section for things. Like
Mhm.
when you live a life where you're just like, oh, to do the day goes like this, you don't get anything done really. That's like when you have everything scheduled out, you realize, wow, I have a lot of time
Yep.
to do this,
And it
to
minimizes
have.
those excuses.
Uh-huh. And then it makes you feel that's the boost of confidence that you have is like, wow, I got all my tasks that are super important done today. And then now I have time to spend with my kids. I can take them to the movies, or I
Mhm.
can go on a date with my man, or I could just Netflix and chill and not have to worry about all those, things that I didn't do today, you know? So helping yourself by getting a system together is vital. And it doesn't matter if you own a business, it doesn't matter if you work a 9 to 5, like, it is important to be OCD and type A. I don't
Yeah.
think people real
I
it's
no, I
not.
love it, and I say, like, my ADHD is my superpower. I think that's why I get so right, like, I wanna do all the things, and
Yes.
and I when people are like, "Well, how do you, like, get motivated?" I'm like, "I don't like, I love what I do." I don't know if it's personality, I don't know if it's because I love what I do, but I'm like, I am motivated to work every single day, every
Mhm.
day. Like, I love it, and it's to me again, right? It's that non-negotiable of just, like, you know, I didn't get to where I am by not showing up and taking every day off. Do I take the occasional day off? Yes. Do I unplug sometimes early for a day that I need it? Yes. If I have a mental breakdown, like you saw a few weeks ago when we were supposed to originally record this freaking podcast, guys, I do. She hopped on and I was like, I can't do it today. I'm having a day. I'm having a moment. But I've also, right, like worked my butt off to get to a point where I can go and do that. So what would you say, if anyone right now is just like really, really struggling in life, is there like a quote or
Mhm.
something you want to leave them with to, I don't know, help them feel better?
Yeah. So when you're in your darkest day, and like I've had these days where you just feel like there's so much piling on top of each other, the best advice that I would have to say is pick one thing today that you can do that will better yourself, that will move you forward, and go do that thing. And then tomorrow, add another thing. And it's actually like this one exercise. I can't remember. I heard it from someone years ago. They go, how can you expect to turn your life completely around, right? Like 360 completely around. You can, or 180, you know what I mean?
180, yeah.
180. And it's not an overnight thing. What it is it's an exchange of things. So
Mhm.
you add a good thing and you remove a bad thing. So
Yeah.
you add something that's productive that will actually make you better. And that doesn't mean business wise, it's personal. Like, so whatever, working out, eating better, reading a self-development book, whatever that is, taking a walk outside for 45 minutes to get some fresh air and some vitamin. So you add a positive thing and then you remove a negative thing, something that is not productive for your life. And you continue to do that. So you add productive and then you remove negative. And eventually it's like life by design, like I always talk about. Then eventually your life You're like, wow, I've designed my life to work at my elite self so I can perform at my elite self. So
Mhm.
that when, because it's gonna still happen, when I'm going through struggles, trials, I get like a freaking, side boulder come into my life, kind of, so to speak.
Yeah,
y- You're functioning with the tools to handle that situation way different than when you're already depleted over here on just living life, you know?
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my advice is it's not over, it's not done. This is not your life. You don't have to accept that this is your reality. You can build a new reality and you can change it.
Oh, I love that so, so much. Thank you so much, Channy, for your time today. We got really vulnerable, but I really, really love it. I think it's gonna be great for our listeners. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Jade. This was super fun.